Welcome to World Energy Television. I'm Richard Loomis, and today we're going to be speaking with Jeff Johnson, CEO of Epis Energy. Jeff, thank you very much for joining us.
Richard, thank you. It's great to be back, and I bet we're going to have a little more excitement upcoming over the next few weeks as well.
Jeff, the last time we talked, or the last couple of times we've talked, it was about whether it would be Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump as president. It turns out it's Trump. Lately, he's been making cabinet picks. So what do you think about the process so far?
I'll tell you what, I couldn't be more proud of him with the amount of attention to detail that he is taking and the seriousness that he is taking all of these cabinet positions. He is talking to everybody and anybody that he thinks is capable, and to bring in people that are not lifelong politicians to help run this cabinet and help get this country back on track it's exciting for me. I don't remember the last time that you have felt this type of enthusiasm. I think we did right after the first Obama election, the very first one. But since then, I don't think we have felt such a passion for optimism and hope as we have right now. So in a word, I think he's doing very well with the people that he's trying to get to be a part of his cabinet.
Well, if we've been watching him make these picks, it's been very interesting. I think one of the most controversial, or certainly one of the ones that has caught the media's attention, is the CEO of ExxonMobil, Rex Tillerson, being chosen as Secretary of State. What do you think about that?
Yes, sir. It sure is. You know, Rex runs arguably, I guess, the largest public company in the world. He runs it within countries. I believe they're in 20 foreign countries. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's about right. And he's been CEO of this thing for the last 10 years, having to navigate pretty tough international waters. So he's been able to go into all kinds of OPEC nations, the continent of Africa, many countries there. You take a look at Russia, at China, all the other parts of the world that he has not only had to go in and negotiate deals for his company to go in and thrive, but he's also had to do it within the confines of regulations here in the United States. So although he's trying to play games in foreign countries, a lot of people don't think about this if you haven't been exposed to it. But not only does he have to play by other people's rules, he's also got to abide by the rules here in the United States. So he's got to abide by regulations with the EPA, with the Securities and Exchange Commission, with labor laws. And to be able to do what he has done, and to be able to forge relationships and partnerships and create the company he has created is pretty amazing.
Well, when we look at Rex Tillerson, he certainly understands energy. And I agree with you, he's been all over the world. But Trump has made some other interesting picks late. What do you think about his choice to head up the EPA?
Oh my goodness, the Attorney General from Oklahoma. I think it's a wonderful pick. You know, he has been pretty aggressive in trying to work with the EPA to cut back regulation, not only for the oil and gas industry, but for small business as a whole. You know, I've operated wells in Oklahoma, owned wells in Oklahoma, and it's a very good working environment, not only for the oil and gas industry, but for entrepreneurs and for business. And if indeed he can take his approach up to Washington, D.C., and effectively take these rules and regulations and push them back to the local level, where they know better than Washington, D.C., as how to manage their process of business, I think it'll be wonderful. Just a small example. You know, we operated some wells in New Mexico. Spent $10 million for the asset and then put together about another $20 million drilling program. Had already spent the capital, had already raised the capital to go drill our wells, when the federal EPA came in and said, wait a minute, you need to prove to us that there are no sand lizards out here and no prairie chickens. Now, think about that. You got to prove that something doesn't exist. So, it may sound silly, but effectively it becomes a tax. We had to spend $250,000 getting a qualified professor, quote unquote qualified, to go out and write a report that says, indeed, we weren't killing any sand lizards or prairie chickens. So that's just one small example. But I think if he can take that attitude up to Washington, D.C., it's going to be great for the oil and gas industry and also for business as a whole.
Prairie chickens and lizards. Now I've heard everything. Well, as we've moved forward, Trump has also named his Secretary of Energy, and it turns out it's Governor Rick Perry. What do you think about that?
I like the pick. Governor Perry has been governor here in the state of Texas for many years, and if Texas was its own sovereign nation, I think it would be the 12th largest economy in the world. Governor Perry knows a lot about energy in Texas, not just oil and gas, but we are also one of the leaders in wind and solar, natural gas, midstream pipelines. We also are very familiar with what it takes to import and export oil out of the Gulf. I think he's an excellent choice. And Governor Perry, the one thing I kind of like about this choice is the reason that he was wanting to get rid of it whenever he ran for presidency. He realizes and understands better than anybody in the state of Texas how much regulations that are outdated can just stifle business. We've had a wonderful economy here in Texas. We've been very successful in getting it not so much focused on just oil and gas, but a wide diversity of business. And Governor Perry was a big reason for that. I think he's an excellent choice.
Well, Jeff, looking at these picks, it's sending a very strong message, I believe. But you're currently running a small producer. You used to be the CEO of Kano Petroleum, $600 million company. When you look at this and you see the atmosphere and the picks that Donald Trump is making, how does it make you react as the owner of the company?
I'm enthusiastic. Richard, the last 3 or 4 years for our industry, it's been pretty tough. The last couple of years since we've seen prices drop, from the end of 2014 until current day. A challenge within that is a couple of things. Number one, infrastructure. We need to get better infrastructure, whether the XL pipeline, rail, and other things so that we can move energy efficiently and cheaply and safely. And it's a lot safer to move energy through a pipeline than it is on a truck or on a rail car. The next thing is the regulations. If we can lower our taxes and lower regulations, it's going to unlock this economy. And you're going to see the oil and gas business go through a boom that we haven't seen in a long, long time.
Well, Jeff, this has been very interesting. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to share your insights.
Richard, it was good talking to you, and I want to wish you happy holidays and Merry Christmas, and thank you for the time. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
For World Energy, I'm Richard Loomis, and thank you very much for watching.